What's up, guys? Ben here, Warden there. We're here to commentate. What's good, bud?
Yeah.
That's what's good. Yeah, is what's good. What's on the camera?
Looks like we have Storm versus Jund.
You can tell it's Jund because of the storm counter stuff.
Yes.
Wait.
Oh, looks like they both like to roll 10s.
That's pretty good. 11.
Oh.
That's going to be a Stormcat when he plays Remand.
Oh. Sadness on the stack. Sadness resolves.
Most of the sadness resolves. Then I'm going to put more stuff on the stack to resolve. More sadness for you.
Oh, find it. Come on, you can do it.
All right. So, how do you feel about this matchup? Storm, Jund, advantaged?
It depends on how much hand disruption Jund sees, and also if they see a Scavenging Ooze game 1.
I feel like they may not even necessarily need the hand disruption as much, as long as they can make sure they have the removal spells to keep those cost reducers off the board. Because, Storm it's possible for it to go off without cost reduction. It's just very difficult.
Yeah, I've had to do it, and it's just one of those like, all right, here's all the mana. Do we get there?
Yeah, and it's also one of those situations where it's going to be a limited storm, so you're just hoping to kind of like cycle and dirtle yourself into something to do.
Yes.
So keeping the cost reduction cards off the board is going to be the biggest thing.
That's because if you let the cost reduction stay on the board, it's like, hey, look, I'm paying 1 mana and like netting 2 every time.
Mm-hmm. It's just a little bit insane.
Yeah. If you let 2 reduces on the board, you might as well just scoop.
It's not very often. They do nothing with two reducers on the board.
Yeah.
All right. So we had a mulligan. Looks like we have a land heavy-ish hand by the storm.
Yeah,
got two into grape shot, 2 lands into grape shot, but I don't know what the other cards are.
Hopefully we'll find out.
He's keeping it on top. Okay, so Storm leading off. Oh, looks like a decent hand by Jund. All right, Spirebluff Canal. Pass. Drawing a card. Blackcleave Cliffs. No, changed his mind. He decides to fetch with Bloodstained Mire. Going to 19.
Didn't want to start at 10, apparently.
Yep. You want to treat this a little bit like as you were playing Valakut. You want to keep your life total high.
Yes.
Because it's possible that your opponent fizzles out.
Yes.
All right. Basic Swamp for Inquisition. All right, we got Remand, we have Pyromancer's Ascension, and Repeal.
And the Grape Shot.
I
think as a Storm player, mulling to 6, I think I would definitely have kept that hand as well. And
yeah.
I definitely think the Pyromancer's Ascension is the scariest card in that hand.
That was the plan. Now the plan is, crap, what do I do now? That's the plan.
Yeah, the plan is I need to draw into things.
Yes.
And I think, honestly, if you can ever put your opponent into forcing them to try and draw their outs is always advantageous to you.
Mm-hmm. Yep, force them to play off the top of their library.
Yep.
Alright, so pass and turn, drawing a magic card, probably playing the Scalding Tarn, of which he does.
Looks like it's a Gifts and Given.
Good eye. I didn't notice that. Alright, passes the turn, draws magic card. Of course.
I've played enough blue decks. I know what the blue cards look like.
Follows up with Thoughtseize.
Oh. Sadness on the stack. Sadness definitely resolves. Like, you can remand it, but because he hasn't played an additional land,
he could just replay it. Alright, fetching Scalding Tarn.
Especially because you do know that he did play the Blackcleave Cliffs. But I guess I don't think there's a better time to play a remand.
When you're trying to go off. You're drawing into a card maybe that you want that he could just take with Thoughtseize.
That's true.
Or it could be a land, and it'll just be less cards for him to pick from.
Yep. It is...
Alright, it's a perfectly fine card for it to be discarded.
Yeah, it's okay.
Pass and Flames.
Pass and Flames, okay. I feel like he's gonna take the repeal or the gifts, because the grape shot isn't scary, and obviously you don't want to put the past in flames in the graveyard and have it cost less.
Yeah.
So
All right, goes ahead and takes the repeal.
I think that is a perfectly fine pick. Looks like third land.
Third
Hey,
land.
all
That
right.
was pretty good. Another Spire Bluff Canal. So you're hoping to just top deck another land and play Gifts and Given at the end of the next turn.
Yep.
All right. Got Untapped Overgrown 2.
Oh no!
Scavenging Ooze.
That is not where you want to be. Also, bad gem player. Lands should go in the back while you're on camera.
Okay.
He only has. I'll say currently he only has one green source. So he's going to get a second one from the.
Plays Verdant Catacombs, fetches, probably for a green source.
Yep.
That is the greenest of sources.
So I mean, exiling 2 cards from your graveyard a turn. You're not going to buff the Scavenging Ooze, but I don't think you care at that point.
No, you're just about managing his graveyard and hitting for 2, hitting for 2, hitting for 2. Until the game's over.
Yep.
Until you're no longer hitting for 2.
So it looks like there's a Bloodbraid. Oh, it looks like he's just going to go for a Bloodbraid
I think that's fine.
into a Lily. That's the ideal one, right?
Maelstrom.
Oh no! Chooses not to cast. But I mean, he has his opponent on a 4-turn clock at this point as well, which I think is fine. Like, your opponent doesn't have any reducers or accelerators in hand, so.
Alright. Clock's in for 5, passes the turn. Got a Manamorphose off top. This is your most opportune time to actually get rid of Scavenging Ooze.
Yes, I mean, here I guess you're hoping to Metamorphose into an accelerator. Oh.
Okay, so he decides to pass the turn, get clocked for 5 again. Land for turn, follows up with Bob.
Yeah. Yeah,
I got Baral, which is pretty good.
Is Metamorphose instant speed?
Yes, I believe so.
So you'll net gain a mana, draw a card. Baral will get bolted. You don't have a counterspell in hand.
Alright, so signifying that he's going for it, going for something. Casts Manamorphose for 1. Passes priority to Jund. Jund opts to respond by tapping Black Cleaves for red and bolting Baral. That is now that's an important thing. His opponent did add a spell towards the storm count, because
Yes.
Storm doesn't care just about your spells; it cares about all spells. It is all spell inclusive.
So he goes 1/1 on the mana pool, draws a card.
Yep.
What's an accelerator?
At this point, it doesn't matter. I think the plan should be play Grape Shot.
Oh,
It was an accelerator.
I think if he has an accelerator, then he can just take out the whole board.
Right. The plan would be hopefully Grape Shot the board away.
Yes. Which he agrees with. Okay, beautiful. And obviously he's going to eat a card from the graveyard. Probably the Manamorphose, because that's the most valuable one.
And Baral, put a creature in the bin and save Scavenging. So it was a great play, great idea, but did not compensate for the ooze getting bigger.
Yeah. We forgot about it as well, because Brawl was in the bin. But that's good.
Alright, so he's thinking about eating his own cards to increase the clock.
So he can eat 2 to make it 5. It doesn't really increase the clock much. I think swinging for 4 is fine, because the next turn you can eat a creature and just kill him.
Well, based on that math, that was a bad attack.
All right, I was like, man.
Alright, gets clocked for 4, goes to 5, passes the turn, draws into Serum Visions. Casts that said Serum Visions.
So he gets like a Manamorphose and he can just stack accelerators, he might be able to get there, but that's still...
Alright, so he had Pyretic Ritual and Serum Visions and opted to Scry, so Serum Visions was on top, Pyretic underneath. None of the cards on bottom of the deck.
So I feel like he's just dead here.
Noxious Revival is the card that he drew for turn, or drew off of Serum Visions.
So the problem is that Noxious targets, right?
Yes.
So whatever he targets, he would just eat with Scavenging Ooze. And then, yeah, eat a creature, attack for 5.
Yep. Goes to 0, picks up his cards.
Alright.
Okay.
Game 2, I think Jund definitely has an advantage because the weaker cards like Maelstrom Pulse and Dread War come out.
Mm-hmm.
Probably for either more hand disruption or graveyard hate. I would think the graveyard hate, 'cause I think they play Nihil Spell Bombs in the sideboard.
Is that what current gen lists are doing?
Yes. Because you have to... you can invest mana into it if you want to draw a card, but when you just need to crack it and get rid of the graveyard, there's no mana investment in it. So you can just go turn 1 this. It's like, okay, here's my safety valve.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And it looks like as the Storm player, he's just looking to be able to deal with random pesky permanents by bouncing them back to the hand. I saw Echoing Truths, Lightning Bolts.
There have been, while they're sideboarding, there have been rumblings about the new 2-drop enchantment from Guilds of Ravnica. I think it's Firemind's Insight.
Mm-hmm.
Going into Storm sideboards as an alternate win con as well.
Okay.
I can see it. The only issue I have is that to deal 5 damage, you have to take off 5 counters. So if you want to kill your opponent, you have to play 20 spells. I mean, the fact that you can pay a blue and 1, remove 2 counters and draw a card, if you want to stack that up just to be able to refill your hand and try and go off again, I think that is more realistic of a plan than trying to cast 20 spells and then kill them.
So what matchup are you wanting that card for?
I think in like the Jund matchups, because if they're going to be taken out, like I feel they would take out Maelstrom Pulses, so that only leaves their real destruction as like Abrupt Decay or Thoughtseize in their way. It just gives you incremental value, and that particular card doesn't necessarily care about the graveyard. It'd be also good against Control as well, because if you stick it, Control typically only has Cryptic and maybe the 1 to 2 Wear Tears on the sideboard to take care of it.
If you're bringing it in for Control, is Search for Azcanta just as good? Like, how do you feel about Search for Azcanta and Storm?
I'm not sure, actually.
Because it gives you potential card filtering, and you're normally okay with putting cards in the bin if necessary.
Yeah.
And if you plan for the game to go long, I mean, you do end up searching for the relevant card types that you're looking for with the flipped side of Search for Azcanta.
That's true. I think the issue with putting that in Storm is very land light. I think they're typically playing about 20 land.
Mm-hmm.
So having more than 4, having more than 4 mana sometimes is an issue. Like they're usually trying to go off turn 3.
Yeah. But on that same process, like you're trying to filter into your important cards.
Yeah.
And when you do get to flip Search for Azcanta, it gives you an additional mana to start playing with too.
That's a fair point. I'm not sure. I'm sure there are some Storm lists that probably are trying it.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't played Storm in a while.
Right.
But I could see arguments for either one.
I think that the biggest argument that I can think of against Search for Azcanta is probably just not proactive enough. Card filtering is nice, but there are reasons why you run the cards that you do and why the deck's built the way it is. It's pretty rare when you don't see a card, or when you see a card you don't want off of Search for Azcanta. And when you're actually going off, more times than not, I imagine you're not actually have 7 cards in your bin, or want to be put in a situation where you have those 7 cards in the bin if you played it on turn 2.
Yeah.
A late search isn't very good.
That's true. And a late Pyromancer's Ascension at least has value because you're probably getting counters really quickly on it. So.
All right, cool, fun talk. Yeah. All right, so it looks like we got some lands and spells. Oh, he likes these lands and spells. Plays Scalding Tarn, cracks it. We're going to see Serum Visions here, I believe, on turn 1.
It looks like all I can see from the Jund player is some land, a Bob, and a Lily. So, I don't know. I'm hoping he has some hand disruption in the opener. Caffeine addicts, they're the worst.
Right here.
It's definitely him.
I do drink coffee in the morning. I drink my coffee black.
Ugh.
And all right, here's the Serum Visions. Change the subject. Draws magic cards. Scries 2. Looks like Echoing Truths and another card. Echoing Truths is the one that is touching his thumb.
Looks like he has an Echoing Tooth in hand already, so I think he might put that on bottom.
Yes, so the card that I could not identify is kept on top, and as Gordon said, tuck the Echoing Truth. Pass. Get a Scoos, probably one of the best cards in this matchup.
Yeah. As
we saw per game 1. Oh, and he's got Blackcleave Cliffs, Thoughtseize. Yep. Beautiful turn 1. That's what you want to be doing every time as the Jund player. Discard spell.
Land. Ooh. That's a great hand for Storm against a Thoughtseize.
Mm-hmm. Because whatever you Thoughtseize away, you could just get back if you really wanted to draw it next turn.
Yeah.
But, just... all right, so he's just taking his ability to recur
anything he wants to, which I think is a fair plan.
Without already giving it flashback.
Yes.
Okay, passes the turn, draws magic card. Looked like a land. An land.
Best card in Magic.
Islandi. Islandi plays Island for turn. And based on what I remember, I don't... he's got Sleight of Hand. Yeah, that's definitely going to be cast. Sleight of Hand. Look at the top 2. Put 1 in hand, 1 on bottom of the library. It looks like Bolt and blue card.
And I think Bolt isn't relevant right now, so I think taking...
Oh, he took the Bolt.
Oh, he did? Okay.
Maybe it was 2 bolts.
Maybe.
All right. Bob. You wanting to bolt this Bob here?
No, because, granted, Bob will get them... Oh, all right.
He opts for it.
I think Bob will put him a little down farther, but I guess you do risk giving them advantage card-wise.
Right.
And you're not doing a whole lot either.
Steam Vents into play tapped. I believe that's the card he drew for turn. Passes. Raging Ravine comes into play tapped as well.
Second Bob.
Follow-up Bob.
Echoing Truth would have been great.
Oh, it's a repeal, I believe. Either repeal or remand.
Repeal.
Okay, so he's deciding to just go ahead and Echoing Truths that.
Yep.
All right, Baral. Excellent card.
Yeah.
He's like, yes, I drew Baral.
Unfortunately, I think Lily's going to come down and make him sack it.
No Spell Piercer.
Unless he has a Remand. Remand would be really good right now.
We know he has Metamorphose, which he could try to cycle for Remand, if he so desired. But it looks like he let it resolve. We have the minus cost paid for Liliana.
So, what he could have done is he could have Metamorphosed, repealed his own Baral, drew a card. Drew 2 cards, actually.
That would have been really good. I think that would have been worth it.
I think it would have as well.
Wow. Heads up play there.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe our Storm player will watch it and catch that comment. Or I'll tell him next time I see him.
Right, hey, And it's a very weird line of play because you feel like you're wasting 2 cards, but they're replacing themselves, and then you'll also be able to keep your reducer.
Mm-hmm.
And then like he can't minus Lily again on the next turn, so you probably have a good shot that he has to have some kind of removal spell for it.
All right, he's just going to go ahead and Echoing Truths, getting rid of it.
I think the better plan would have been to, when he upticks Echoing Truth. Oh, actually, you discard 2 cards, and it's actually worse for you.
All right.
It's like
Empty the Warrens. Discards Empty the Warrens off Liliana. Jund follows up with Bob that we saw Echoing Truths earlier.
Yep.
All right, and this is a good spot for Jund.
Yes, it is.
Why is it a good spot for Jund?
So they're able to just pick apart your Storm player's hand, and you're also going to start getting card advantage from the Bob. Is that second brawl?
Second brawl.
All right.
All right.
Look, it looks like he's just going to try. I mean, I think you kind of...
Second brawl, Manamorphose, floating red-blue, and I think he just tapped out and floated some of his mana as well.
So you can repeal the Bob, I guess? So 1, 2, 3 with the reduction. Yeah, it doesn't quite work. So you would need 4. We need 1 additional mana to be able to bounce the Lily.
I think at this point,
I think he's
that's
just
not a concern.
Yeah, I think he's just gonna repeal the Bob. He has no mana float. He's gonna draw a card. I think the Storm player's just in a bad spot because Lily will just down tick, taking out the reducer. He has 2 cards in hand. Lily might just tick up.
We've got Pass and Flames there in his hand, and we also have a blue card. All right, untapped Overgrown Tomb.
With the Scavenger Ooze, I think you just tick up Lily.
All right, we see Pass and Flames going to the bin. So now he's got some things to be concerned about.
Yes.
If he has if he draws into an accelerator, that Pass and Flames can start doing work.
They can, but the Kolaghan's Man making him discard a card, and I would assume dealing him 2, or he's gonna get a creature back, possibly a Bob. No, to discard a card, deal 2, and then Scavenging Ooze, exile the Past in Flames.
Yep. So
he's on top draw, which is not a great.
All right, see, finds a second cost reducer,
It's like attack,
which is probably the best non-proactive card he could have drawn.
Oh, hands down. Because if you get a gift, you're paying 2. You're probably going to keep one of the accelerators, and then hopefully just be able to go off from there.
Mm-hmm.
I think if I'm Jund, uptick Lily doesn't do anything because he has no cards in hand. It does get you 1 step close to the ultimate, but I don't think making him lose 2 permanents is worth it. I think just making him sack a creature is the best option.
That's the most aggressive thing you can do at this point. And that's what you're trying to do, is be aggressive and end the game. Got Tarmogoyf.
All right. Oh, and so uptick.
All right, so he's going for alt.
I mean, I guess he's figuring he has a Scavenging Ooze with 2 green.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, I don't have to worry about the graveyard. But it's, if your opponent can just chain off of enough things, they can deal with your board without the graveyard. It's very difficult, but they can.
Alright, so he drew a card past the turn, and in a turn, scoos 8 relevant cards. Now we're seeing a Lily alt. So what does Lily do when she alts?
You target player, which is important. You separate 2 different piles for target player. They pick one, sacrifice the other pile. So it looks like he spent Creature's Land, which pretty typical pile.
Mm-hmm. And Storm opts to keep his lands.
I think as a Jund player, I would have done the 2 creatures in 1 land versus the 2 land. because him having one land and you having the Skoos, I guess you're just trying to put him on a clock at this point. Which it looks like a 3-turn. Well, if he has creatures in the bin.
He does.
Yeah. So
2 critters in the bin. All right, so we saw a pretty big clock to the face there last turn.
yeah. Well, I mean, there's 8 right there. Oh, and then he exiled one of his own. So that's and then a bolt just to show him that he has lethal for sure.
All right, after playing Polluted Delta Pass, we had some shenanigans with Skoos.
And I think he's just going to swing out right and kill him.
Attack for 8.
All
10. All right, cool.
Jundin 2.